am I saying? What am I saying? Hey guys, what's up and welcome to my channel. I'm Miley. So a few months ago I ordered this embroidery kit. I have been wanting to use this kit to do, well, something. And it finally dawned on me, I want to use this kit to update some denim. That's the thumbnail right there. So I picked out 3 pieces. I have a denim jacket, a denim shirt, and some jeans. All of these pieces are on the older side. I used to wear them all the time, so I thought by adding some fun stuff to it, it might revive some of these old pieces. Yes. So with everything in mind that I have for each one of these pieces, I have a lot of work ahead of me, so let's get started updating this denim. So for these jeans, there's not really a whole lot to go over. I call this look the choose your own adventure with thread. If you know how to do a basting stitch, you can accomplish this look. And if you don't know how to do a basting stitch, I'm about to teach you. You just take a piece of thread and with a needle, you weave it over and under the fabric. And then I would take the piece of thread and tie it on the inside of the jeans. And that's it. That's the basting stitch. Probably the most simple stitch out there. This yellow thread is the first color I went with, and I continued to make basting stitches vertically and horizontally wherever I really felt like it, and continued this until this whole piece of yellow thread ran out. Once the yellow thread ran out, I switched to a new color and continued on with the same process over and over and over again. Once I got comfortable with the process, I started to get more lenient, not just doing straight lines. I would take a piece of thread diagonal and then switch to vertical and then back to diagonal and sometimes loop back the same way it was coming from. Just again, the choose your own adventure with thread. No real rhyme or reason. The one thing that I didn't do is any diagonal lines. I kept the line vertical and horizontal. 2 things to note if you do try this out is 1, keep the thread nice and loose. Don't pull too tightly because that will distort the jeans and potentially make them not fit when you put them on. And 2, don't sew the pockets shut. I kind of did that a few times. Oops. And for my jeans, I went with a asymmetrical look, having one side a bit more saturated and the other side a bit more sparse. Not really for any particular reason, I just liked the way it looked. And also getting that one side super saturated just took a really long time. And now that the jeans are done, let's get to this denim shirt. For this shirt, I decided to only stick to embroidering the pockets on the shirt because this is a big old shirt and, well, there's only so many hours in the day. I started off by planning out the design for these pockets. Did I stick to it? No, but hi, I'm Miley. I usually don't have a plan, and when I do have a plan, I don't stick to it, because that would be crazy. The little rosettes I made in the design, I used the wagon wheel method of hand embroidery. Now, I'm not an avid hand embroiderer, so if I can make these flowers, you can too. I'm not totally sure because, again, not an avid hand embroiderer, but I think this is the most standard hand embroidered flower. You start out with a point and you continue to work from that point, creating little spokes coming from that center point. And I usually stick to 5 to 7 spokes coming from the center, and I think this explains why it's called the wagon wheel method. Once you have your desired amount of spokes, you take the rest of the thread and start weaving it under and over every other spoke, around and around and around the wheel until you can't see the spokes anymore. And I repeated the process until I had 4 roses. 4 roses. Does anybody want an old-fashioned now? To fill the space at the bottom in between those 2 roses, I made little rose buds. You take the thread and wrap it around the needle and then stick the needle through the fabric, and it makes this little loop-de-loop that's supposed to look like a rosebud. To make these leaves, it's pretty much the same concept as the wagon wheel where you're working from a center point, but in this case you're working from a center line and you just wrap the thread around and around and around, working off of that center line. The final technique I used in my embroidery was creating this leafy vine. Or is it a beanstalk? Guys, I think it's a beanstalk. Why do I have an obsession with beanstalks? They've made an appearance in like 4 of my videos. To create the leaves on my beanstalk, I took the thread and wrapped it around 3 or 4 times, going in and out the same points, and it just kind of thickens up the area. Thickens up the area to make a leaf. A tiny leaf. And to fill up the pocket some more, I made more of those little rosebuds all over it. And on the other pocket, I used all the same techniques, just with a different design. And the same thing for the small pocket on the sleeve of this shirt. And to finish the shirt off, I added little rosettes to the collar. For the final denim item I updated, I stuck to embroidering the back center panel of this jacket. And this was the only thing I did where I had a clear design in mind, and guys, I actually stuck to it. It was a whole new world for me. I based this embroidery after an old Vogue cover that I love. I started off by mapping out where the Vogue was going to go, and once I had it mapped out, I used a black fabric marker to go over it. For the letters, I used the outline stitch. It's a standard straight stitch line that leaves the embroidery with little gaps showing. To create this stitch, you push the needle back towards the other stitch. This wraps the thread around to create a seamless line. For the thicker parts of the letter, I did 4 lines back and forth, and the thin parts, just 1 line. I haven't mentioned this yet, but my dad has owned an embroidery business my whole life, so bad embroidery really gets under my skin. So I took my time with these letters, and at one point I really wish I had one of my dad's embroidery machines. But at the same time, the hand embroidery I think adds a bit of a vintage flair that I really like. Once all the letters were done, if there's one thing I have learned over the years of working for my dad is how to fix your embroidery. So taking that black fabric marker again, I filled in any gaps where I saw the denim under the stitches. Creating the rest of the design was pretty simple. I only embroidered the eyebrows, winged liner and lashes, the lips, and beauty mark. And for all of these, I used the same techniques I've already used. For the eyebrow and lips, I used the same technique that I used for the leaves on the denim shirt. For the lashes and liner, I did the outline stitch that I used on the lettering. And to create that little beauty mark down by the lips, I used the same technique that I did to create the rosebuds. For the jacket, I wanted to add a little something extra to play up the whole vintage thing I had going on. So taking an old long pearl necklace, I cut it up and sewed pearls all over the front and sleeves of the jacket. And on the back of the jacket, I concentrated the pearls just on the yoke. And I really liked the way this looked, so I took the denim shirt and sewed pearls all over the sleeves. And here is each one of the items complete and me awkwardly trying to model them. Yeah, definitely not a model. And that is it, guys. I hope you liked this video. I personally love each one of these pieces. They're all very different, but my style from day to day really does change, so I will be wearing each one of these items. Clearly already wearing one of them. Could some of the embroidery be improved upon? Yes, but I also grew up around embroidery, so I'm really nitpicky when it comes to my embroidery. If you liked this video and want to see more videos like this, please comment down below, and also comment down below on which item you like the most. And if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and go subscribe to my channel and hit that notification button so that you know when I post, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys. And Wesley says goodbye too. Yes, he does, 'cause he's the cutest kitty